Have you ever felt like you were the only one carrying a relationship, doing the things that kept that relationship together? Hi, I'm Caroline Rena, spiritual alchemist and the host of the Awakening Soul Divinity podcast. And today I'm going to talk about what this feels like and the discoveries I've made within this, especially as an empath. So there's something that's been shifting in me, and I didn't fully see it until recently. And sometimes what happens is there are days where I'll get up in the morning and something is just like, it feels off. It feels like things are shifting, but I don't know what they are. And I sat with this, and this is what came to me that I've been doing. And so I've spent a lot of my life being the person that holds the connection with other people. And if you're an empath, you'll understand this in a different way. But in general, I feel like there's a lot of us that do this. And it's not obvious. It's not controlling. It's not forcing, but it's being the one who feels everything, who senses everything, who stays open, who keeps the connection alive, even when the other person isn't fully involved like we are. We are the one who reaches out, the one who checks in, the one who meets people where they are, even when they can't fully meet themselves or you back. And for a long time, I thought that I was doing this from love. And I thought that that's just who I am, you know? And I also thought that it was the right thing to do because we're supposed to have relationships. And that could go into a completely big rabbit hole there. But something is changing right now, though. And it's not dramatic, it's actually really quiet. And it's like I realized I'm not doing that so much anymore. And I didn't decide it. It was like I noticed it. I recognized what was going on. And I was observing it and I kind of stopped. So it feels like it's coming to a point where it's just not there anymore. And what that brings up is this feeling of loneliness, but not the kind most people think of. It's not abandonment or rejection. It's more like there's this space where something else used to be, and more like it was like a it was like a desperation to make sure that the other person is okay. And I can feel that. I feel that from that other person, and I want to connect with them, to bring them back center. But that's not our job. And even recently, I noticed this with someone I just met. Normally, we've been having a lot of conversations, and normally there would be a movement in me towards that person to stay connected, for them to keep the energy going, to hold that space between us. And I stopped doing it, like right in the middle of it. And what it felt like was there was nothing pulling me in there like there used to be. There's no need to define anything. Now there's just the space. And I'm still kind of in it, so I'm not sure what that space really is yet. And at first, that felt like something was wrong. It's not something I'm used to. Like, is this a disconnect? Is it an ending? But now, when I really sit with it, there's actually less tension in me, or beginning to be, because I'm not the one holding anything up here anymore for anyone else but myself. And I say that as I process this, because this is something that I've had a hard time with my whole life. And for me to not be the one holding this connection up is new for me. And it's not easy, but I always say, when I used to say, this is really hard. And someone told me one time, it's not hard, it's new. So this is new. So as an empath, that's a big shift because we're used to being the ones who feel into everything. We know where people are and we sense what's needed. And in doing that, without even realizing it, we adjust, we meet, we carry, we start to carry the load because that is what we think we're supposed to do. But when that stops, for us, everything changes. And now I'm seeing it everywhere in my life with people, with places, with things that used to feel aligned. I'll go somewhere that used to feel good and it just doesn't land the same anymore. It's not because anything's wrong, but because I'm not entering it the same way. So this is like an overall thing that's not necessarily about or specifically about connection and relationships. It's just how I present out in the world now. And it's really interesting. And I started to see something very clearly. I've been living in this space between two worlds for a long time. I'm not fully in the spiritual bypass space anymore. And I'm not fully in the shutdown, push through space that I felt was an obligation, but somewhere in between. And as an empath, also, I could move between those worlds. I could ground the spiritual, I could ground in the earth, I could open the closed in others, and I could hold that middle in others and in, you know, my goings and doings in the world. But I'm choosing not to do that anymore because it's not serving me. That's a huge shift for me. So now I'm in this place where I'm no longer willing to meet people in ways that aren't mutual in any situation. But I also don't have people yet in my life who meet me in this new way. So it feels like this in between space, like a void, and it can get lonely. And it's not like the loneliness I felt when there was no reciprocating of energy. It's a different kind of loneliness. And it's more like, and I'll probably say this again, but it's like a voidy place. It's an empty space. And here's where I think the sadness piece comes in. It's not because something's wrong, but because I can feel how long I've lived without being fully met by the other. And I'm not willing to go back to that. I'll just say this honestly. I don't want to do life alone. I don't. I love my life. I love where I am now. I love what I've created. And I want to share that with someone and with my tribe, not from need, but from fullness, from wanting to experience life with people who actually see me and who stand with me. But the way I used to connect isn't the way I'm connecting anymore, or again, working on that. So now it's become less about searching and more about being in my life without leaving myself, without reaching first, without holding everything together, without adjusting and twisting or contorting to make connection happen. And for an empath there, that can feel really unfamiliar because there's more space in my life and there's less noise and less emotional movement, but there's also more truth. And what I can feel is that everything that was built on me being the one who carries connection is falling away quietly and naturally. And what's coming in is something I haven't fully experienced yet. But that is what is now important to me. And that is what happens when you're in that in between space. Connection with others that's mutual. Connection that meets me without me having to create it or sustain it. And I don't know exactly what that looks like yet, but I do know this. I am no longer available for anything less than that. So if you're an empath and things feel quiet or like people aren't showing up the same way or like nothing is landing the way it used to, it might not be that something's wrong. It might be that you're no longer participating in connections that require you to carry them. And yes, that can feel like loneliness, but it's also the space where something real can finally enter with yourself and with being human. And that's where I'm sitting right now. Just being here without forcing it, not going back, and not leaving myself anymore. That's the space. And if you're here too, you're not alone.